Viewer request. Anything to do with the Munsters. Now, I'm more of an Addams Family guy, but I would be lying to say if I didn't also love the Munsters. If you don't know anything about either Gothic family, then you're probably too much of a normie or too young to watch these videos. The Munsters are a little less fortunate when it comes to adaptations and remakes than the Addams did. Maybe because the Addams were based on comic strips. Ah, yeah! I'm pretty sure that's just an episode of Riverdale. So this takes us to our review today. Here Comes the Munsters. Opening with the family getting harassed by villagers, a mix of footage from 1931's Frankenstein, and original footage including Erwin Keyes with a rocket launcher, which leads to the family escaping on plane, where they watch Bride of Frankenstein, which seems to be out of order given the audio, and they land in beautiful scenic LA. I don't know what's worse, being harassed by a guy with a rocket launcher or living in LA. They're going to stay in 1313 Mockingbird Lane with Marilyn, who is Herman's niece instead of Lily's in this film. In this film, her dad is Mr. Hyde and her mom is Herman's sister, Elsa. But it turns out that Mr. Hyde is missing and Elsa's in a coma. And speaking of, Elsa was in a movie earlier. And in this film, the lab isn't under the living room, it's under the staircase where Spot usually is. So now we have to save Elsa and find Hyde. Meanwhile, also fit in with America. Herman deals with America's employment system. Lily deals with America's suburban moms. And Eddie deals with America's crappy school system. And all the while dealing with immigrant discrimination, which is sadly still relevant in America. There's a part where Herman gets a job as a waiter, and he serves the original cast, which is super bizarre, and I love it. And it's kind of sort of implied they're still the same characters, which makes me think we stumbled into some weird time anomaly and they're just undercover. But before I think too hard about that, we found a clue to where Hyde is on VHS. It turns out that Hyde became Jekyll, and Jekyll is running for Congress on an extreme anti-immigration platform where he plans on mass deportation, which no politician in America IRL would ever run on. Ever. Wait, it's 1995. Ever.
Nope. Never happened. But now everything's fine.
America
Is fine. Nothing bad ever happened. Ever.
Can make America great again.
So Herman and Grandpa try to get a DNA sample so they can make a cure, which they do, but Herman gets caught and sent to jail, and his family faces getting deported, which would never happen in America IRL, so Grandpa tries breaking them out, thanks to disguises and shenanigans. But thanks to Marilyn, a blow dart to the butt, and some really weird video effects, Jekyll becomes Hyde again. And Elsa's revived. Happy ending. No one's getting deported. Elsa and Hyde are going on a world tour. And the Munsters get to stay in America at 1313 Mockingbird Lane. This is the best thing that has happened to the Munsters since the original sitcom. The casting is absolutely perfect. Especially Edward Herman as Herman, who is so good as Fred Gwynn, you forget it's not him. He looks exactly like the part in the makeup. He even has a similar voice, and the body language is perfect. Robert Morris as Grandpa is also just pitch perfect Al Lewis. Having the voice and timing down to a T, man. The sets are absolutely gorgeous. The music's nice. It's super funny. It recreates the show perfectly. It's just an absolute love letter to the original series. Having the Munsters be immigrants works for the characters, and it's still very relevant to today. I highly recommend this movie. But it's not as easy as that. For some very, very, very stupid reason, this is like one of the only major movies I've ever seen that is not on DVD. I mean, I know it was made for TV, but it's made by Universal. I mean, seriously, why is this not on DVD? And the VHS is hard to find too. So the only way to really watch it is on Tubi, which I absolutely hate. Not Tubi, except for all the damn ads. But like, the thing I hate is there's no DVD copy of this film for some reason. And it's such a good film too. So it's like, what the heck, man? Like, what gives? There's so many really bad movies on DVD, but not this. This is The Darkest Timeline. Hopefully we do get it on DVD or Blu-ray or Y-Ray or whatever big service we're on these days, and have it on Disney Plus or Hulu or Netflix or Universal Plus or whatever the big streaming service is these days, because this film deserves to be seen by everyone. If you are a huge Munsters fan, then definitely check it out. If you're trying to get people into the Munsters, this is a really, really good spot to start with. Just like with the Addams, the 90s is the best decade for these families. There is actually a sequel movie to this, The Munsters' Scary Little Christmas, which is on DVD for some reason, even though the original isn't. Again, Darkest Timeline. Maybe just like how the second Addams Family movie from the 90s was better, maybe this will be too, right? We might have a Nightmare Before Christmas kind of thing going on, right? Right? Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches. I slam in the back of my dragula. Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches. I slam in the back of my dragula.